back from the dead.
Warning, this video contains some extreme big coaster hot takes I know you all will dislike. Hey everyone, this is Joey from Joe the Coaster Fan, and today I'm gonna be telling you my top 25 roller coasters as of 2023 that I have enjoyed. Before I begin the video, please make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and turn on those bell notifications if you want to see my upcoming videos coming up later on. First up, I'll give up 3 honorable mentions that did not quite make up the list. Starting off with number 28, we have X-Lite at Six Flags Great America. This is a ride I really enjoyed, and this B&M Wing Coaster does deliver. You know, I was having fun on those 4 inversions it has. The dive drop has good hang time, and the theming is super decent. I get to enjoy it every time. And that inline twist from the tower exceeded my expectations. I was expecting to go slow, but it went fast. It shattered it. This is a fun ride I would like to ride again. It's such a good ride. You know, I recommend riding this. Coming up to number 27, we have Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is a classic B&M sit-down coaster that is a fun ride to enjoy. I wrote this back last April. This ride packs a punch, but you know, only good parts I think about on this ride is the whippy 0G roll and the intense Cobra roll. Those part of the rides are insane, and you know, you gotta appreciate the classic B&M because this is the most important ride at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Number 26, we have Medusa at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is a solid floorless coaster that I seem to actually enjoy. This ride was formerly known as Bizarro, but you know, I still appreciate this ride of what it is. This floorless coaster packs a punch in my opinion, and it's a ride that has a good layout, and it's a significant addition for Six Flags Great Adventure. And now for my top 25 list, starting now. Number 25, we have Possessed at Dorney Park. This is one roller coaster I want to re-ride again multiple times, and I just miss this ride so much. And then you repeat the same thing over and over again. Launch more speeds up the twisted vertical spike to the maximum speed level, and back up the vertical spike with the hang time again, and then launch forwards back up to the twisted vertical spike, and then come to a complete stop into the station. If there's one impulse I would rather ride than this, it would definitely be Steel Venom at Valley Fair, because that holding brake looks insane to try out, and is one of my bucket list coasters at that park. Anyways, Possessed, it is truly a great and underrated ride, and I can't wait to make my way out here to Dorney next year for their Iron Menace Media Day event and get back on this one-of-a-kind model intimate thing. Number 24, we have Talent. This is one graceful invert that I seem to have loved after my first ride. This thing is underrated. Like, you start off going up the chain lift and dropping down into the vertical loop, and then when you swoop through that 0G roll, it's probably the smoothest one you'll ever experience. And then the layout's pacing, it just literally packs. And this ride has like one of the best color schemes out there, and I can't wait to get back on it again when Iron Menace opens. At number 23, we have another coaster in Pennsylvania, and that goes to Great Bear at Hershey Park. This is a fantastic inverted roller coaster, and you know, this is something I would get a night ride on, and I'm telling you, this has one of the most iconic sceneries. This invert has good pacing. This ride has great transitions. The inversions are fun to enjoy. The 0G roll is very snappy, and the corkscrew gives some good whip. This is one intense ride I really love at Hershey Park, and I can't wait to get back on it again by the chance I also get to ride their new RMC roller coaster, Wildcats Revenge. And traveling back to my state, number 22, we have Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great Adventure. This one small invert packs a punch, and here is why. This ride is intense. It has good inversions, and even riding at the back row, it is intense. And you'd come to the brake run saying, wow, what was that? And you know, the corkscrews are really snappy that you'd be like, what the f? Each time you ride it. You would definitely feel your legs ripping off at those parts. But anyways, I really appreciate having this ride in my home park, and you know, I would definitely ride this at the back row whenever I want to feel the intense G-forces this ride has. And traveling back to Florida, coming to number 21, we have Mod 2 at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This B&M invert is something special for everyone that to enjoy. But personally, I just think the theming for me is something I would enjoy because those Egyptian trenches really packs for what the ride's theme is. The inversions, I would need to give that a reshot because I've only ridden it once, and I think I remember the Batwing being forceful the time I rode it. Still, this is a solid invert to me, and I would really love to ride this at night because I want to see what the ride experience is about that time of day. Number 20, we have Fahrenheit at Hershey Park. This one rare Intamin creation has to be one of the most underrated things they have created. This ride packs a punch a lot, and I'd tell you why. This ride has a good vertical lift hill. The first drop is great, especially when you're riding at the back row. You get some great ejector dropping down from it. The inversions are solid to enjoy. The double corkscrew is snappy. And that airtime hill after the final corkscrew gives you some great ejector airtime. And the pacing is great too. If this is a ride I would rope drop to at Hershey Park when I visit there again, that would definitely be this. And I can't wait to re-ride it again because of how great this ride is. Number 19, we have Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. Now this is one Batman clone that I think is significantly better than Six Flags Great Adventures, and here is why. This was the world's first inverted roller coaster, and this ride has the original terrain to it when it was originally built back in 1992. And when I rode this last year for the first time at Six Flags Great America, this ride was like running on crack. Like, I was like, holy shit, that was running faster than Great Adventures? This is way better. Like, this is one classic roller coasters I gotta appreciate more because of how it made a significant change in the roller coaster history. At number 19, we have Jersey Devil Coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now this ride is probably one of the weakest RMCs out there, but I'd say this ride is a little underrated because this ride has some good pacing, and even with the mid-course brake run turned off because that's what made everyone hate it. And this ride packs a punch in many different ways. The first drop offers some extremely good ejector airtime as you're yanking down from it. The inversions are solid to enjoy, and the 0G stall has some hang time to it. And getting a night ride on this has to be something you would like because of how it runs better that time. Coming to number 18, we have Tigress at Busch Gardens, Tampa. And now this is a ride I seem to never get the hate of at all when I came off of this ride. This ride really packs it in many ways, and I know everyone hates the comfort collars on this ride, but they seem to never bother me at all. When going up the highest point, you get some strong ejector airtime, and crossing through that Heartland roll, it gives you some hang time I promise you would freak out on. And when diving down and all the way up to the Norwegian whip, you'll probably experience one of the most underrated and most intense moments out there because of how that whip is really strong. And when you're waiting for this ride, you'll hear one of the most underrated station musics out there because of how it gives you the hype from riding this. And I know you Skyrocket 2 haters will dislike this video because of how I am expressing my hype of this ride that I seem to never got the hate of at all. But I just think this ride is underrated for some reason. And coming to number 16, we have Steel Force at Dorney Park. Now this underrated hypercoaster by Morgan is something special for me because this ride has some Paradise Floater airtime to it. And the setting while you are cresting through that first airtime hill is something you would probably enjoy. The first drop is fun. The first airtime hill is solid. The helix is also fun to enjoy, and the finale has to probably be the best part of the ride because of how it goes from floater airtime to floater airtime to floater airtime over and over again, and then you go through a small double up, and then it gives out some amazing projector airtime. This is another graceful ride I would love to re-ride again and get more rides on because of how the experience is. This is something I can't wait to get back on when Iron Menace opens to the public. Coming to number 15, we have Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. Now, this one solid B&M hypercoaster is something I have trouble processing on, but you know, I'd have to give my real rankings of it right now. Real thoughts of it now. So, this ride has some great forces to it, and there's some good airtime moments to it. When I rode it for the first time last year, I thought the first drop was overrated to me as I had very high expectations for it, but it grew on me a little the next day as my expectations were like running low from it after being underwhelmed. And the twister section in the second half is satisfying to enjoy because of how smooth it is. And you know, I'd love to give this a reshot someday because first drop left me underwhelmed the first time I rode it. This is something I'd marathon at Great America if I get the chance to. Coming up to number 14, we have one of my favorite coasters of all time, Great Nor'easter at Maurice Piers. This Vekoma SLC probably has to be the best one out there, and I love everything about this ride. And here is why. This is a very smooth ride, and this has comfortable restraints. The inversions are legit. The rollover has to be one of the most intense moments I had ever experienced in my life, and the most surprising one. When you're riding at the back row, you get pulled down there super hard. That it just leaves you speechless, and the double inline twist is very intense. That you were going to scream on that part. This is something I would marathon over and over again because of how immaculate this ride is. Number 13, we have Candemonium at Hershey Park. Now this is one of the best B&Ms I had ever ridden, and I'll tell you why. This B&M Hyper is a very solid addition to Hershey Park, and it does pack a punch. The first drop is great. You get some flojector airtime while going down there. The two camelbacks provide great floater. The speed hill offers some great flojector airtime, and the whole ride is just has a sweet experience to it. If there's one ride I'd marathon from afternoon till nighttime, it would definitely be this one of a kind B&M Hyper. Coming to number 12, which has to be a big hot take. Green Lantern at Six Flags Great Adventure. This stand-up coaster is actually great, and I will explain why. I used to hate this ride the first times I rode it in 2021, until I learned advice by some enthusiasts to learn how to ride it properly. When I took their advice, I was like surprised and in disbelief of how it just worked. Like, wow, this is a top 2 B&M at Great Adventure. And I was like, screw Superman, that's a mid-tier B&M. But anyways, this ride is about positive G-forces. And I really love feeling them on my legs because of how it feels numb from those forces. The inversions are fun and the ride experience is intense. The corkscrews are snappy too. Number 11, we have SheiKra at Busch Gardens Tampa. Now this B&M dive coaster was a surprise for me when I rode it last April. Diving down the first drop, it is extremely forceful while you're diving down, and the second drop, you're diving into the tunnel, you can feel the forces in there too. I really like this ride over Montu and Kumba because of how it pulls more forces than them. And the splashdown is fun too, as you can get wet from the splash zone. And now we're at the top 10 spot. Coming to number 10, we have Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is one B&M hypercoaster that actually had shot up my rankings this year. When I got the D-Train front row ride at night, it was like, wow, that was running better than all my rides from the past. Anyways, the ride experience is very solid. So the first drop is good, especially at the back row. The two camelbacks now have good floater airtime, especially the second camelback is better, and the upwards helix after it gives a gray out moment as it's the most forceful part of the ride. And then after it, you go through its 3 bunny hills that gives some perfect floater, especially sitting at the front row. And then when you come to stop, you'd be like, wow, well, that's a great ride. Because Nitro, it's a ride experience for everyone that comes to this park, and it is a must ride. Number 9, we have Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Now, this is one intimate blitz ride that I actually had liked when I went to this park for the first time last April. This ride is just about a family coaster experience, and you know, I was not expecting much from it because I had not ridden Maverick yet. You have to appreciate everything about this Cheetah Hunt ride, and you know, the 3 launches are fun. Going up the Windcatcher Tower has great ejector airtime, and dropping down there, the Heartline roll is great as you get some intense whip from it, and then crossing over those twists and turns on the water is just something I really liked on this ride because of how the theming is so lined up together, and then you go up this hill that offers some sustained airtime, and then to the end you'd say, wow, that was amazing. This is a fantastic ride at Busch Gardens, Tampa, and it should be on your bucket list if you have not experienced this yet. Number 8, we have Max Force at Six Flags Great America. This is one ride I really love at Six Flags Great America, and I'll explain why. The intense 72 miles per hour launch gets me off guard every time that I just continue to scream on it every time I ride this thing. The inversions are so fun to enjoy, and the dog tongue gives some good hang time because of how you're cresting up there very slow and how you think you're about to fall off. And then coming out of it, the pacing kicks off of it, and the Heartline roll gives some good whip. And up the max dive loop, there's a little pop of airtime up there, and then you come down to the brake run saying, wow, that's just a great ride. Like, literally, this left me speechless when I first rode it, and this is something I'd get back on again. Number 7 has to be the wildest take of all time. It has to go to Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Now, this is a ride I think that is just overrated, but it's just not up in my top 5 for a reason. So, when I went to Busch Gardens, Tampa last April, I unironically had to go there first and did not know it would run slow in the morning like that until I got off of it. So, I had very high expectations for this ride when I rode it, and you know, my mind was like out of control, and you know, I was overhyping that ride. I thought it would run insane than I think it would be. But fortunately, weeks after, I had to process my thoughts about it later on, as I only got one ride on it, and I knew something went wrong there. It was running slow, and I never realized it. I thought the ride experience would run ejector to pulling too much whip on the death roll, but you know, I'd say it's the most overrated element in the world because I was overhyping it too much, and other elements I found to be other airtime moments I found to be overrated because they're not giving too much airtime than I think it would be. But the double down, it met my expectations. That's the only element that I could ever think of. And I had found many flaws on this ride. And you know, this ride easily breaks down during winds. It has one of the worst ops out there, and again, it just runs decent in the morning. This is why I'm spreading awareness to all of you to never, ever go to Iron Gwazi in the morning, because you'd come off the ride disappointed, just like how I did. But you know, end of the rant on my top 25 list. But you know, I'm just hoping to get more rides on this thing, especially at night, because it is a huge bucket list experience for me. And you know, I've been dying to rewrite this so bad after realizing how disappointed I was when I got off Gwazi. Anyways, number 6, we have Storm Runner at Hershey Park. Now, this is an immaculate, intimate accelerator roller coaster, and I think y'all might know why, because that launch packs a punch, as as it is intense while going up the top hat. And diving down from it at the back row, you get some great ejector airtime coming out of it. And the inversions are really fun, especially that flying snake dive that gives some great transitions, especially when diving down from it. And then when you come to the end of brake run, you'd be like, wow, that's one immaculate ride right there. You know, and now we're at the top 5 spot. We have Gale Force Playland's Castaway Cove. If I think one ride that's also immaculate to Jersey Shore, that has to be this kind of underrated creation by S&S, Sansei. This multi-launch easily packs a punch, and you know, this ride has some ridiculous ejector airtime. The top hat and kickflip are the big highlights of the ride, and this ride will launch twice and go 2 times, and you will know how you'll understand how really good this ride is, because it is such an intense ride and a must-do whenever you come out to New Jersey Shore. And now coming to number 4, we have Goliath at Six Flags Great America. Yes, this has to be one of the wildest hot takes of all time because of how Ira Gwazi disappointed me, and JDC is like the weakest RMC at this point. So let me start here. Goliath at Six Flags Great America is a really fantastic coaster, and here is why. This RMC topper track wooden roller coaster packs a punch, and this has some good moments. The first drop at the back row, diving down into the ravine, gives you some nice ejector airtime. The 2 small ejector airtime hills offer some fantastic airtime. The inversions offer some good hang time, especially that giant 0G stall, which I think has to be probably the best 0G stall on the roller coaster out there. And when you come to the break run, you'd say, wow, that is just fantastic, as I had to get this as my 50th credit, and it was so worth it. And then coming to the top 3, number 3, we have El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This intimate prefabricated wooden coaster has to be one of my favorite coasters of all time because of how my first ride on it in 2020 just changed my life. The whole ride has the best airtime moments out there. The first drop has some good whip and some nice airtime. The 2 camelback back-to-back camelbacks provides one of the greatest airtime moments out there. And that rolling thunder hill kicks back to it again as it provides some strong ejector. Even though this ride has been gaining a bad reputation over years, perhaps having one of the roughest moments out there, like the turnaround, this ride is still good. But, you know, I still hope for like a big refurbishment for this ride so it would run perfect as it used to, and I would be marathoning this thing over and over again. And coming to second place, we have Sky Rush at Hershey Park. If there is one ride I'd say that is just almost perfect, that would be this one of a kind of intimate creation. This is a ride I would rave about every single day because of how amazing this is. The first drop has to be one of the best ones out there because of how you start off with floater and then abruptly into ejector, like you are about to be thrown out of there like a car crash. And then those three airtime hills provide one of the strongest airtime out there, and the twists and turns offers some very great laterals. The ride experience is so fun that the restraints don't even bother me at all, as I think they're very overhated. If there's one ride I'd want to desperately re-ride at Hershey Park again, that would definitely be this beauty, because this ride is just immaculate from start to finish. And now, coming to first place has to be my number 1 roller coaster of all time, Kingda Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now, this is one roller coaster I have big passion for, and here is why. This roller coaster has to have one of the most immaculate ride experiences out there. The 128 miles per hour hydraulic launch gives out one of the most intense launches out there, as you are accelerating there extremely fast. That is just super intense. and going up the top hat gives out some very great views of the whole entire park. And descending down from it and all the way up to a short airtime hill to the brake run, it is just so underrated to me that you are like giggling on there. And that airtime hill has some great floater to there. And when you come to the brake run, you just say, wow, that is just easily amazing. Like, wow, this has to be my favorite coaster of all time. If you want a really great ride on this coaster, I recommend the front row because it provides one of the most insane ride experiences out there. That it is butter smooth. And now that concludes my top 25 roller coasters as of 2023. What did you all think of my list? Did I trigger you with all of my personal opinions to yours? Or did you decide to become chill and enjoy this list? Well, thank you all for watching, everyone. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to like, hit that subscribe button, comment on my channel, and turn on those bell notifications if you want to see my upcoming videos later on. And Happy New Year of 2024. This is me, Joe the Coaster Fan, signing off.